This is Thursday evening, May 21st, 2020. This is 7:00 p.m. Participation will be via virtual means only pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order superseding certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law C-30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Marlborough Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation. The public may participate in this meeting via remote remote participation. A link to the website for the meeting will be provided on the city's website, on the city public meeting calendar, and on the Conservation Commission website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. To access to the city's website, go to http www.marlboroughmash.com. Okay. Now, as I said, we are being recorded. The first item on the agenda is we have 8 public hearings this evening, and the first item on the agenda is a request for a determination of applicability for 150 Cedar Hill Street, Ken Foods. Proposes to add a new concrete pad on existing paved area and add and move equipment and piping associated with adding 2 biological scrubbers to provide H2S removal for gas, for hydrogen sulfide removal for gas conditioning upgrades near the wetland. Is there anyone here to speak on the matter?
I'm here for that.
Okay, and I'm going to share your screen. So let me just, they're all lined up, so hopefully I can do that without too much trouble. Let me see, I just have to share.
I see Dave.
I quit. There we go.
Okay, here we are.
So Dave, is that this? I have all 3 of your plans. So which one would you like?
If you go to the, I guess there's a sheet number that says Exhibit 1 is the main. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Hey, before you start, Dave, I forgot to take attendance.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I have to take attendance. Edward Clancy, present. Dennis Demers, he's absent. William Dunbar.
Present.
Karen Paquin.
Karen, unmute yourself.
Present.
Unmute yourself.
Present.
Mm-hmm.
John Scarron.
Present.
Alan White.
Present.
Dave Williams.
Present.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Okay. For the record, I'm Dave Crossman with B&C Associates. I'm representing Ken's Foods. They're doing some upgrades on their equipment, and the work in the top left corner of the screen, you'll see the equipment inset. The areas in red are the proposed work. All the work is in the buffer zone of the adjacent BVW. None of the work is within the 25-foot no disturb area. All the work is on existing developed area already. There is a 0% increase in
Impervious.
Impervious, right? Impervious area on the site. It's already, all the work is on existing paved or developed areas. So we're just asking for permission to do the upgrades that Ed mentioned during the reading of the hearing.
So, Dave, the question.
Yep.
The 2 areas, there's just the 2 areas that they're going to be on the pavement.
Yes.
Just removal of the old equipment and putting in new equipment.
Yes, there's
I believe they have to put a new pad here, right?
There's a
Where
new
my
yeah,
cursor
there's
is?
a new pad.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is a new pad for the
Yeah. because they've been before us in the past, when they actually built the entire system several years ago. And this is the pre-treatment prior to going into the City of Marlborough sewage system. So
Yes.
now you have no impact whatsoever on the 20-foot buffer zone.
Correct.
And you just are in the resource area that, but it's already a paved area, so.
Right.
Now, are they going to have overhead lines, or are they going to be underground again? Do you have any idea?
I believe there's some overhead lines.
Yeah. Okay. No, so the impact, it appears as though the impact will not be, wouldn't be any different from what there is already there, so.
I guess they're going to do a pipe bridge,
Yeah,
and that'll just connect the two pads. That'll span the two pads.
so it'll be an overhead pipe bridge.
Yes.
They have a similar one back here already.
Yeah, there's another one there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Any
as they explained it to me, this is to help scrub the gas so they can use it better, so they can reuse all that natural gas in their facility. So it's also a reclamation. It's a really good green sort of thing that they're doing. So again, from a wetlands perspective, no, I have no issues with it as either.
Yeah.
Looks like a good project for them. And I did, when I was out there to look at this a couple weeks ago, they had called for an inspection for the addition is where my cursor is now. They had put some more things, and then they're going to be redoing some of this grading here. So, but this is what we had approved, and that's finished and done, and they've removed the erosion control, so everything's good.
Okay. So they're still using the propane, the natural gas to heat the building?
Yep, they're capturing it, and they need it to be cleaner to make it more efficient. So this is all.
They're removing the hydrogen sulfide.
Yes, correct, so that their methane can be cleaner. Yep.
Yeah. What do they do with the hydrogen sulfide? Do you have any idea?
I don't know
Add
myself.
water and create sulfuric acid.
I'm a wetland biologist, not a chemist. No.
Add water and make the sulfuric acid. Okay. Is there any other questions, members of the board? Any questions from members of the board? Any questions? Any questions from the public? If they're interested, any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Okay, hearing none. Okay, you don't have any other concerns, Priscilla?
I have none. I think close the hearing and give a negative determination with standard conditions would be my recommendation.
Okay. Okay, hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Members of the commission,
I'll make a
somebody make a
motion for
motion
negative
to-
determination.
Motion is a negative determination by Commissioner Scarron,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Dunbar.
Bill. Yep.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Clancy, yes. Commissioner Dunbar,
Yes.
Commissioner Paquin,
Yes.
Commissioner Scarron,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Accept it.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yea, it is approved. It's a negative determination. Negative is good. Okay, thank you very much, Dave.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is a request for determination of applicability for 668 Stowe Road. This is a proposal to clear overgrowth in and near wetlands and to create a lawn area at 668 Stowe Road. Anyone here to speak on the matter? Is there anyone here to speak on the matter?
Ed, I believe I heard you, Ed Wiles.
Ye-
I think
Yes,
you're here.
yes.
Yep.
I just figured out how to take myself on mute. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just click on the little,
There we go. So yes, looking to do to clear some of that some overgrowth that has grown in over the last 3 years since we purchased the house.
now, when you say overgrowth there, what are you talking about?
So from the lines, from what you see in your screen here, the wetland growth or the plants have come in probably another, I'd say 5 to 7 feet, if not a little more. And we're just looking to take it back to where the line was initially when we purchased the house, which is probably designated in that yellow.
Okay. Yeah, because, this already has an order of conditions on it.
No,
The
so
house.
so this was built in 1998, I think. So this is the line, and right now
Right.
it just grows a little bit out here. So he
Yep.
just wants to bring it back, and after we walked it today, he agreed that the yellow line is what they would clear to. They would have loved
Okay.
to clear to here, but knowing that this is wet, they can't do it. The other thing that I noted today was that in 98, we were just using vegetation and not soils, I believe, or
Yeah.
93
It
to
was all-
figure
it was
this out.
The
So
vegetation was very prominent.
correct. And so it's definitely so wet in here, no question. If he wants to, go deeper, he could hire a consultant to sort of redefine that line if it's changed over time just based on soils. It was pretty wet here. Here was a little bit drier on this edge. He just wants to straighten this out, and again, it looks like the overgrowth. I thought I had put up a plan that showed a picture of it that he had provided. Let me just see if I can pull that up because it was useful. So let me see if I can get that. And let me share. Maybe it was this plan. I don't think I'm sharing it yet. So that's kind of the aerial that looks like today.
Yep.
So, the line kind of goes straight like this. So there's this little triangle right, you can't really see my cursor, but right in that area that would straighten this out, and then they can put in Ed, do you want to explain what you want to do there too, Ed Wiles?
Yes. So, I mean, all we're looking to do is clean that space up and level a small area to be able to put a swing set because it's on a bit of a small incline.
Yeah. So is it all pretty well? Have you marked it off with flagging or anything like that?
We have not. I just went out there. I was out there about 4:30 today. So we just have to pull a line. The existing stone wall is right here, which shows on the as-built plan that you saw before. And again, it's just to, it's just to straighten out this little corner that bumps out. So it's an easy line to pull because their property line is right at this corner, and they can pull a line right too. So
there is a small brick wall by the edge of the left portion of the house there near the chimney that's built in that kind of defines where that line is. It's a pretty simple line to follow. Yeah.
No, that wall was wall was built to actually demarcate pretty much where the wetland would be.
And you can see the wall on this plan, and it follows this as-built pretty well. So then it stops. So, so I think what he's asking for is really just to straighten what's out there to kind of match this, and then to put a little bit of soil here to make it a little bit flatter so they can it's more usable. So if everybody's okay with that, that's kind of what the request is. Anything else, Ed Wiles? Anything else to add to that? Your request?
No.
Okay.
The reason why we're just asking so we know we're doing the right thing. That's all.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. What is your next door neighbor doing?
What isn't he doing?
What is it?
He's putting an addition in, he's putting an addition on the side of his house, and then he's putting in a pool, and then the reason for us to want to expand the yard a little bit was the fact that he's putting in a fence, which makes that pinch at the end of that diagram you see there pretty tight.
Yeah, I went down by there. It looked like somebody had bombed it, and I can understand why you want to demo. If he's going to put up a fence, it would pretty much, throttle down your yard. So I don't have a problem with what you want to do. Okay, is there anyone else wishes to be heard in this matter? Anyone else? Any of the members of the commission? Any member of the commission? Okay.
Sorry, Ed, Bill.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
The filling that you're going to be doing, Ed, is it going to be a pickup truck load? Is it going to be a dump truck load? How much fill are you going to be bringing in, and what type of fill is it?
I believe it's, and forgive me for not knowing the proper terminology, but a loam has been mentioned. Would that be considered a fill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's the expectation is that it's not a large amount. My expectation would be it'd be a pickup truck's worth, and even more so to not flatten that entire area because it does go downhill. So it's more so to raise the swing set a little bit. So if it does pool water, it doesn't pool into the swing set.
Okay. Any other questions, members of the commission? Any other questions? Any other questions from the members of the public? Okay, hearing none, declare the public hearing closed. Entertain a motion for a negative determination. John?
I'll make a motion.
Motion is made and second for a negative determination.
With standard conditions
With
to allow a
standard
swing set.
conditions.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, I'll read the roll. Mr. Dunbar?
Yes.
Karen Paquin?
Yes.
John Scarron?
Yes.
Dave Williams?
Yes.
Alan White?
Yes.
Ed Clancy, yes. 6 yea, it is a negative determination. So that is the negative determination. Ed is good.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
So I will
Okay.
send you something in the mail, Ed, and then you can proceed. So hopefully I'll
Okay.
get
All right.
that
Thank
out.
you.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Moving right along here. Next on the agenda is a request for determination of applicability for CSX Transportation Incorporated. This is to obtain confirmation of the boundaries of wetland resource areas adjacent to the CSX Railroad right-of-way of Marlborough, in Marlborough, as part of the railroad's 5-year vegetation management plan. Is there anyone here from CSX? Anyone here from CSX?
If you are, you need to unmute yourself, either clicking on the bar that has the microphone, or if you're on a phone, *6. And let me just look to see who's here to see if they are.
I'm calling from Wood Environment and Infrastructure, and we represent CSX Transportation.
Okay, good. And your name again?
Steve Herzog, Herzog.
Okay. Steve, you have a request for vegetation management in the city of Marlborough. Could you explain what you're doing?
Yes, certainly. CSX owns what they call a secondary rail line, a small rail line that goes between Framingham and Leominster. Sees a couple trains per week, and they maintain the track in part by applying herbicide once per year to keep weeds down, usually in June, in compliance with the state's rights-of-way management regulations. And one aspect of those regulations is every 5 years, the railroad needs to prepare a vegetation management plan, a VMP. And part of that vegetation management plan is seeking confirmation from the conservation commissions of all the towns through which the railroad passes that the wetland boundaries have not changed, because they are not allowed to spray herbicide within 10 feet of a wetland or water body. So we went out and confirmed that the wetlands are the same as they were 5 years ago, which was the last time we came before the commission. So we are seeking this RDA to complete the vegetation management plan and allow them to continue to control weeds for the next 5 years.
And Ed Clancy, I did go walk it, and so what they do is they mark the railroad with blue and yellow paint. So the yellow paint is where it's right against the wetland, and the blue is sort of the buffer area that it's just along the edge, and the paint is loud and clear, well noted. There's 3 sections that show in Marlborough. The first was down near so this is first is near the MWA, so this is the crossing next to the MWA. This is the open channel where my cursor is. Yes, and Ken's Food is above that. And then the next place is just at the edge of, so Ken's Foods is here. So this is just on the, they're right on the Southborough line. And then the last piece is right where the Fay School has their fields, and it goes around their fields. So these are well marked as well. So everything is marked and in place, and everything looks like about the same as it did 5 years ago, as he said. So I'm good with this.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Any questions, members of the commission? Any questions, members of the commission? Any questions, members from the public? Any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Okay. Hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed. This is a request for determination of applicability. Do I have a motion from the board?
I'll make a negative determination.
Negative determination.
Wait, just a second. Steve, are we doing a positive determination for the line? Is that how we're supposed to vote on this one? We're
to be honest, different commissions do it differently. What we requested, I think, the RDA is a positive determination that the line is accurate.
Okay.
But many commissions feel that it's more appropriate to say a negative because the work is within the buffer zone, but an NOI is not required.
What we're talking about is we're not going to require a notice of intent.
Yeah.
And so the negative determination is accepting the boundaries as
Correct.
shown. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the boundaries as shown. Okay. Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call is Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Ellen White.
Yes.
John Scarron.
Yes.
Karen Paquin.
Yes.
Bill Dunbar.
Yes.
Ed Clancy. Yes. Okay. 6 yea. It is approved. That's a negative determination. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a notice of intent. This is a continuation of a public hearing for 339 Boston Post Road and adjoining parcels. This is James Driscoll from Marlborough, Mass., the owner, LLC. This is the proposal to construct a 4 multi-family residential building, garages, pool, associated parking lots, dog park, and a community garden within the buffer zone, bordering land subject to flooding and or riverfront area. This is also known as McGee Farm, and more recently Heritage Farm. Who's here tonight?
Hi, Brian Falk from Myrick O'Connell on behalf of the applicant.
Hi, Brian.
How are you? Well, thank you.
You shaved.
I did. It was a Mother's Day present to my wife and my mother, who were sick of 8 weeks of growth. So here I am.
Okay, Brian.
So earlier this week, we submitted supplemental materials in response to feedback and questions from city staff, state agencies, and public comment. Our design team is going to go over the details of that supplemental submission briefly tonight once I'm done. But first, I just want to summarize where we're at with the project and our current status and just some overall big picture items with the project. Again, we're proposing 188 high-end apartment units in 4 buildings at the McGee Farm property. And they'll all be located in the property's existing building area right along Route 20. Of the site's 26 acres, over 70% of that area will be preserved as open space and landscaped areas. The preservation of green space and natural areas is important to the applicant, and that's being incorporated within the project as an amenity for our residents. The existing riding ring will become a walking trail, and the interior of the ring will be left as open space. And that's the bulk of the area that's closest to our neighbors at the Joe Lem community and Helen Drive, and that area will remain as open space. We're adding an area of 35,000 square feet of natural indigenous plantings and replicating another 5,000 square feet of wetland area on the property. As our design team will explain, we believe the drainage improvements from this project will reduce the risk of flooding that could potentially impact neighboring properties. We're adding a large below-grade detention system to store stormwater, and that does not currently exist on the property. Our design team used conservative assumptions when designing our drainage system, going beyond what's required by the city and the state. And we're also clearing out existing culverts to improve water flow. All told, the risk of flooding is higher with the property in its current condition, and this project should be seen as an improvement for our neighbors with respect to drainage and flood control. In addition to this order of conditions, as you know, we need special permits from both the Zoning Board of Appeals and the City Council, and we'll also be seeking site plan review once that's all done. So right now, the project is on permit number 1 out of 4 before the city. With that, I wanted to turn things over to Alan and Major to discuss our supplemental materials.
Yep. Thank you, Brian. Good evening, commissioners. For the record, my name is David Robinson, and I'm a senior project engineer and the project site designer with Allen and Major Associates. This evening, I'll be presenting a brief overview of the improvements we've made since the last Concom hearing and how we've addressed the major comments from the engineering department, as well as how we've improved the sites with regards to potential downstream flooding. So as I mentioned, as Brian mentioned, we formally responded to the engineering comments discussed in the previous hearing in our most recent resubmission of supplemental information provided to the city. And I just want to quickly summarize and respond to those comments. In the comment letter, they mentioned concern about the amount of area we're proposing to develop on site, given the resources areas that do exist. The total project area, which includes the 3 parcels as shown on the plan, comprises approximately 25.7 acres, of which approximately 15.5 acres is potentially developable, that is outside of resource areas in the local 20-foot no disturb wetland buffer. And of that, only about 4.6 acres is proposed to contribute to the total lot coverage for the site. That's just 18% of the total site area, or about 30% of the developable area. The comment letter goes on to mention flooding and compensatory storage concerns. As shown on the plan here, we put the 5 study points that we're looking at. And it's clear that we're reducing the peak flows leaving the site. And we've also reducing the volume of stormwater runoff leaving the site by about 30,000 cubic feet, which reduces the volume of runoff leaving the site by about 1/3. We've also, in our most current iteration, we upsized the subsurface infiltration systems on site to accommodate up to 60,000 cubic feet of stormwater storage. That's between the subsurface systems and the surface detention ponds up front along Route 20. Additionally, we're able to accommodate an additional 7,000 cubic feet of compensatory flood storage on the eastern portion of the site. And as requested by Mr. DePercio in his letter, in addition to that 7,000, we provide another 7,000 cubic feet of flood storage in the wetland replication area proposed in the southwest portion of the site. All of these improvements contribute to less flow heading downstream, which will increase and improve flood capacity on the site. The comments later go on to touch on gathering test pit data. Test pits were performed. The site grading was lowered by 2 feet overall after reviewing that test pit data and the groundwater levels on site. This reduced the amount of import fill required to be brought on site by approximately 15,000 cubic yards. The comment letter also goes on to ask to re-examine the drainage on site and some of the study points. We expanded the study points, particularly at the existing culverts on site. We studied that area and resubmitted that to the city this past week. And as shown on the plan, we're clearly reducing the peak flows contributing to these culverts. Additionally, the proponent is willing to clean up the culverts as needed to improve their functionality. The comment letter mentions looking at improving the drainage system and water quality at the remote parking area in the northeast portion of the site. It's known as Lot K. We added a structural subsurface chamber system in that location with a water quality unit to treat and detain that stormwater. The revised plans also include a more robust erosion control plan, which shows a temporary sediment basin at a low point in the rear of the site and long diversion swales with check dams to capture stormwater runoff and retain it during construction and earth moving activities. The majority of the previous hearing that we had kind of focused on flooding issues downstream of the proposed project, and I'd just like to highlight and hammer home how we improve the current downstream issues as we're increasing the flood storage on site significantly, reducing the runoff flows and volume leaving the site, adding in these structural and surface detention basins, which is going to detain a lot of the water on site, reduce what's leaving. As you can see on the plan, we've summarized the peak flow and runoff volumes, which displays our significant reduction in downstream flow. And we also analyzed those additional subcatchment areas requested by the city. It should also be noted that we're not going to obstruct or divert any flow as exists on the site. We're increasing the natural storage on site by means of the compensatory flood storage areas, which adds an extra 14,000 cubic feet of flood storage on site. Engineering had previously asked us for more over the 7,000 in our previous iteration, and we're providing 14,000 cubic feet of flood storage on site. So in summary, we're increasing the flood storage, decreasing the downstream volumes and runoff peak flows leaving the site by the means of our detention systems, and will not cause siltation, pollution, or otherwise endanger the public health under our current proposed design. A large component of this project is dedicated to decreasing runoff flows and volumes and mitigate any potential for downstream flooding. And I think with that, we'll turn it over to Goddard Consulting to kind of go over the supplemental information that they provided to the city.
I'm going to, Scott, before you jump in here, just want to let you know, we received some information, I believe it was on Tuesday, Priscilla.
Oh, no, I think it was Wednesday. It was later than that, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday. We received it Wednesday.
Yesterday.
135 pages. So you can't expect that we have reviewed that totally. That's, so that can be a, are you covering that material this evening, or are you going to?
Well, I think, Mr. Chairman, this is Scott. I fully appreciate and understand what you're saying, and we don't expect at all that the commission would have had time to read it. I think the purpose of this meeting was just to simply acknowledge that we did submit that new information, kind of let you know what you can expect to see in it when you and the commission and Priscilla and Tom have a chance to go through it so we can further interact with them. So I don't expect to have any substantive dialogue on the content of that material. That wouldn't be fair. So just in brief summary then, we did submit just recently the supplemental information that I believe satisfactorily responded to the questions and comments DEP raised in their findings upon their issuance of a DEP file number, as well as the joint letter that was produced by Priscilla and Tom, and recognizing that there'll be some further dialogue for sure in response to this information. So it has basically a brief cover letter. There's a handful of attachments, A through H attachments. So in the first attachment you'll find is a updated Wetland Protection Act form that deals with the proper identification of the book and page number. Attachment B is a more robust alternatives analysis. That's going to cover both alternatives with respect to the riverfront area, the 10.58 standards for alternatives, but also some of a discussion with respect to the isolated wetland. Now, as the commission contemplates this isolated wetland question, it recognizing it's not jurisdictional under the Wetland Protection Act, I do believe there's going to be a question with respect to the water quality cert applicability the commission may be aware that the Army Corps of Engineers recently has given up jurisdiction of these kind of small isolated features. So there's still a pending question within the state of Massachusetts if such alterations of isolated wetlands is subject to even review under the Well Quality Certificate Program, since that's how they gain their jurisdiction under the Clean Waters Act. So not really a direct question for the commission, but that was included in the alternatives analysis. Attachment C, wildlife habitat evaluation, a robust wildlife habitat eval of both the BLSF, the floodplain area impacts per the wildlife habitat policy standards, as well as riverfront area is included in attachment C. And then the restoration plan you'll find in attachment D gives a detailed planting program for the proposed area that'll be excavated out for compensatory floodplain storage. The goal there being improved wildlife habitat capacity with compared to what you find out there now. Now I did do some hand augering in that area that was brought up by one of the commission members about the fill pile that exists within the BLSF. We found it to be largely made up of manure in that area. So it's like
Is it this area, Scott,
exactly
that I have?
That's
Okay,
right.
all right.
That's right, Priscilla. Yep. Attachment E is a more detailed replication plan of construction methodology, grading, plantings, elevations, etc., for the isolated vegetative wetland. It's that is important because it is within buffer zone, so, and I do believe will create an interesting feature there that will offer some more wildlife habitat value than what you currently get, and it will is going to be within the open space area. Attachment F is a point-by-point response to the letter by Mr. DiPerzio. That just is primarily produced by Allen and Major Associates, which also is attachment G, which is the drainage report that where Mr. Robinson outlined previously, all of his findings with respect to drainage. That the report is attached in attachment G, and the final and last attachment is just an updated set of site plans. That's attachment H. So all the site plans have been improved. There's no radical changes from the initial concept here, but all the tweaks that have come as a result of these responses are accounted for in attachment H. Notably for the commission, one of the things was that little area of BVW alteration that was shown accidentally on the first iteration has now been removed. So with that, I don't expect to get into more than that, but if there's questions at a high level from the commission or butters, I think it would be appropriate for us to respond to those at this time. Otherwise, at the conclusion of this, we'll request a continuation to the next meeting.
Yeah, before we continue this, Scott or Brian, Route 20 East, they're going to increase the size of the culvert going under Route 20 right up by the self-storage place. And they're going to increase it from 12 to 24 inch. So volume is going to remain the same, but velocity is going to increase. Now, will the culverts going underneath the old track handle the increased velocity? That's a concern that we have, because the volume is going to get there quicker, and we have a concern if you all of a sudden have a heading at that pipe, if it's going to cause backing up, and you have all of the homes right along the edge of the Jolene Mobile Hut.
So I guess that's a question for Dave. Has that been calculated just to figure that out? Just to make sure that this doesn't back up into these houses here?
I mean, given the significant reduction of flow leaving the site, a 12 or 24 inch pipe isn't really, a significant amount there. I mean, considering how many thousands of cubic feet we're reducing leaving the site.
I'm talking about you.
So David,
No.
Downstream, I think we're all set with these culverts, what I'm showing now. I think it's this culvert that we're just a little bit worried about because of the closeness to this. And just to back up, the Mass Highway had gotten some comments from DP as well as us regarding this the increase in flow that's happening because of the increased pavement. And DP has asked them to look at that again. And so we will be seeing that at the next meeting to discuss, to see what changes they provided. So that might help. And once we get that, we will forward that to you too, because that might help you in your calculations. But I guess we're just interested in making sure, and this is what I'll talk to Tom DePercio, that we're sure that this culvert's can take whatever is coming down.
Understood.
This is Carlton with Allen Major. I just wanted to weigh in on that. So that specific area, we're really not discharging anything. I think we're coming basically down to like less than 1 CFS in a 100-year storm. And I think that's probably something that the DOT needs to address, because if this project doesn't move forward, those culverts are still going to be there, whether this project moves forward or not.
Yeah, correct,
It's
correct.
A very
We understand
insignificant
that.
part of our project. We're basically removing all stormwater from that location, except what comes in on the within the watershed that we can't contain outside of our development.
Yeah, it's not something that we have a concern about your development. I think the concern is that it's on your property, and if all of a sudden, we have an increased volume coming down, we don't want to be flooding out your neighbors. So, but something that we have to consider, maybe, I don't know if you have to increase the size of the culvert. I don't know. But, we're not worried about the other ones down below going underneath the sewer trunk line.
I feel like that's something that the DOT would need to mitigate in their design, wouldn't it? Because if this development doesn't go forward.
Yep, that is what they are going to do. So DP is definitely asking them to do that. But we're also just looking holistically at this site and just trying to figure out what we can do. So it's just a question out there, and we're just trying to make sure that it gets addressed. That's all.
Yeah, and the applicant did try to address it by basically removing all the stormwater from the developed area and not putting it there, because we know that's a concern for the abutter, and we are going to clean those out to make sure that they're flowing as designed. There's two 60-inch culverts there. So I think, as Dave said, the significance of a 12 to a 24 versus the two 60-inch culverts is probably fairly insignificant.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that you have the satellite parking. One of the, we were discussing how people were going to access the satellite parking, and you said they were going to utilize the sidewalk on Route 20. Well, there presently is no sidewalk, and there isn't any proposed construction of Route 20 until the year 2021 or maybe 2022. Not sure what Mass DOT is going to do. But if you have a satellite parking, you're going to have no way for the people to get from your development to that parking area. And the question is that do you really need that parking area? So if you're going to have that satellite parking area, you might want to consider the possibility of having your own access going along Route 20 and then joining in, or some other part. But you'd have to have a separate filing on that one, because there's a stream that comes down through there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We understand that, and we'll have to address that. We do need that satellite parking, because the zoning in the business district for multifamily has a higher parking per unit requirement than you would find a mile down the road in the new Wayside district and in some of the other apartment communities that have recently been developed. We're stuck with a higher parking requirement right now, so we do need that satellite lot to comply.
Yeah, but you might want to consider the possibility of creating your own walkway.
And we are considering that. We are. Thank you.
Yeah. This is Tom Moran with Waypoint. If I can just weigh in. We have established a line of communication with the Mass DOT, so we're going to coordinate that sidewalk depending on when their project starts. But the intent is that if they don't build it in time or their project gets delayed, that we would then facilitate the construction of that sidewalk.
Yeah. Okay. But there would have to be some sort of a head wall if you're going to build it. If you're going to build it off the side of the road, you'd have to build a head wall.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. Okay. We've heard the presentation this evening. Members of the commission, questions? Any questions, members of the commission? Okay. Open it up to the public out there. Do you have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Mary Bovacanti. So one of my biggest questions is, what is the concern about the endangered species that live on the property? I know that you have to build a certain amount of feet away from the marshes and the ponds and the rivers that are on the property, but what other what other things are you guys going to do to implement the preservation of these endangered species, the spotted salamanders, all the plants that are there, everything else? Like, this property is a huge property, and there are so many endangered things that I don't think anyone really knows that is there. All that a lot of people see is what they can see from the road. Not a lot of people have been back there to see everything and see the whole property. So what other things are you guys doing to preserve those endangered species that are there when building?
Mr. Chairman, I could respond to that. So this is Scott Goddard. I'm a professional wetlands expert and endangered species consultant. So with respect to this particular site, the state of Massachusetts has a series of maps that outline endangered species habitat throughout Massachusetts. And these are documented locations of known sightings of either animals or plants, and then an extension of those locations to their suitable habitats surrounding it that they could potentially use, even if not documented throughout its extent. Those maps are presumptive under the Massachusetts Endangered Species Act to be significant for the protection of habitat for rare species. When a site's not mapped for rare species, there's no presumption of the presence of rare species, and therefore no regulatory review under the Mass Endangered Species Act is required under the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. So with that as background, this particular site is not mapped by the state of Massachusetts for any known endangered species. So we don't have any presumption or requirement to sort of deal with that particular issue. Furthermore, I've been on the site and my staff's been on the site dozens of times, and we've not identified any unique or unusual habitats or species of plants or animals that are uncommon to greater Marlborough or surrounding areas. Yes, it has its resources area on it. There's no question about that. And the presence of the floodplain, the river, the aquifer protection district, the surrounding BVWs, even the isolated wetland, all these things have certain functions and values that it has triggered this permitting process to review and to protect, but endangered species is not one of them.
Okay, so I have found spotted salamanders on the property, and I know for a fact that spotted salamanders are endangered species. And like, there's coyotes that live on the property and all sorts of other predatory animals that live on the property. So when we build on this property, where are those animals? My biggest thing, I don't think people in the surrounding neighborhoods want coyotes in their backyard and such like that. Like, my horse has been boarded at this farm before all this stuff started happening, before it was bought out, before Val started to sell it. My horse was there, and I've been associated with this property for the past 15 years. And when I was younger, we used to play games, and we were not allowed to go out in the back fields at night because of the coyotes. Like, what are we going to do when the coyotes start going into the neighborhood? Kill them? No, that's not okay. And so that's something that we need to take in consideration when building on this property, is that all the coyotes, all the deer are going to have to go somewhere. Where else are they going to go? They're going to go into people's neighborhoods. They're going to go onto the streets right behind the property and all sorts of stuff like that. And so I just want to bring that to attention to everybody here, that when this property gets developed, or if it gets developed, that's going to be an issue. And like I said, the spotted salamanders, I've seen them there. I'll go take pictures of them. I know when to find them. I'm an ecological science major at Calhoun University in Vermont, and I've done field studies before. And so maybe you haven't found them as a dozen times as you've been there. I've been there 1,000 times, and I've seen them. And so I'll go take pictures of them, and I'll go get the place mapped. Like, that's a serious thing. Our spotted salamanders are so rare, and I know that I've seen them there before, and I know that I'll be able to go find them again. This is the perfect time to go find them on a cool spring night after a rainstorm.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could just briefly,
Go right ahead, Scott.
that, and I appreciate the comments, I do. And wildlife habitat is important, and I don't think anyone's discounting its importance. Just in quick response to what was said by the member of the public, spotted salamanders, coyotes, deer, these are common species in Massachusetts. The spotted salamander is not a state-listed endangered species. So even if spotted salamanders existed on the site, then that's fine. Those are recognized as a common species throughout the state of Massachusetts.
Even the blue spotted salamanders?
I'm talking about spotted salamanders.
Spotted salamander.
Yeah, spotted salamander.
There's many different variations of spotted salamanders.
So
there's the blue ones.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm talking about, is the blue ones.
Yeah.
I've seen the blue spotted salamanders there.
Yeah. The site,
Ed, this is Priscilla. Can I talk for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go right ahead.
So Mary, I guess one of the questions for you is, if they're there, that means they're near a pool. Do you know what pool they're
breeding in?
They're breeding in at all? Because if we know that, then we can just make sure that whatever development isn't affecting that particular pool or the area around that pool. So if you know that information, perhaps you can share it with me, and then I can go out with you, or I can go out on my own and look at that, because those are the kinds of things that, once we know, then we can make sure that the development is better managed, and we can look at that. But we if you have that knowledge, it's good for you to share, and we can all learn from it and do the right thing.
Yeah, so I believe that the spotted salamanders, when you enter the property and you're facing towards the back of the property, they're to the left, the pool that's to the left, we call it Gator Pond, and that's where they are, I believe.
All right, so
I've seen them before.
Maybe you can get down and take a look
So
at
if you can send me an email to how to contact you, and then I can contact you tomorrow, and we can sort of set up a time to go look at that, because that's good information. Thank you.
Yes, I can do that.
So Priscilla, just briefly on that, if you do go to the site, I would like to join you on the site for any investigations like that. And just to be clear, with respect to a butters, the site's not opened up to just sort of a butter, invitations of walking around. It is private property. So if there's a desire to look at something specifically on site, I think it'd be best if the butter contacted me to go and look at something with them.
Okay, well, we can all coordinate together. How's that?
That would be the finest way to do it, by having everybody get together so that there'd be no questions. There any other questions?
Yes. This is Steve Peck.
Okay, Steve.
I have first, I would like to ask, these documents that we are currently seeing were not in the agenda packet?
Correct. They were given to me this afternoon.
Will they be made available to the public?
I can make them available, yes.
Excellent. That's terrific. Thank you, Priscilla.
Okay.
Second question.
Hey, Steve, that was a concern that I had, that we received a packet yesterday, 135 pages, so we didn't have a time to even look at it for ourselves.
Okay.
Good. But they have to be able to be viewed by the public. You have the right to do that. Yes.
Thank you. I have a concern about snow removal. In looking at the picture that we see currently on the screen, and living next door, I know that where the snow goes is a big issue, because it often contains salt. And so we know we have a pond next to on our property, and we're not allowed to put the snow in the pond. Where will they put the snow?
There.
Dave Robinson, do you have that answer?
Yeah, so snow will be stored in landscaped areas. Also, it should be noted that this site at 2.0 to 1, 2.2 stalls per every apartment is overparked. So there may be some area to store snow in unused parking areas. And then additionally, in accordance with the latest 2019 DEP snow removal guidelines, if the snow is over, if we get a large storm and it's not able to be contained on site, it needs to be trucked off site. So those are all options for snow storage. Melting snow within the access drives and parking areas would be directed through water quality units, which are designed to treat those chemicals before they discharge to the wetland. So that's our general snow operation plan.
Well, taking a look at the landscaped areas that you're talking about, there isn't an awful lot of landscaped area.
Yep. Yep. Understood. And that's why I mentioned, this site in comparison to other sites in the area is certainly overparked with regards to the parking ratio. And so there should be available areas in the parking areas for additional snow storage. And if it exceeds that, it needs to be trucked off by the snow management company.
Are you going to have a guardrail going all the way around?
Yes, we're proposing a guard right exactly where Priscilla's pointing. There's a guardrail on top of those. Any of those retaining walls, which are significant in height or pose any type of fall risk, will certainly be provided with guardrails. It's tough to see on the plan here, but in our detailed layout plans, you can see them.
There's always a concern that the commission has whenever you use landscaped areas for your snow removal. When you pile it there in the spring, you have you kill all of your vegetation, including your grass. So we prefer to have it on pavement.
So David, this is Priscilla. David, I know that usually on one of your plans, it's usually the landscape plan or maybe another plan, you show where those snow storage areas are. I didn't look through the latest set to see where that is, but if it's, you can just point it out or make sure it's provided. That's all.
We will provide that before the next hearing.
Okay, that's good idea.
Okay. Any other questions?
So Ed, I did get a letter from Victoria Rule. I won't read the whole thing, but she's basically saying she wants to preserve this place. She's been there for many years with her horses. She was concerned about the fill that was coming in and how much fill was being placed on the site that would displace a lot of water that's coming off of Route 20. It sounds like that's starting to be addressed, and if the fill is a little bit less, that might cover that. But I'll share this letter with everyone. She just wanted to be sure that things are being protected on the site, and her hope was that it stays green, and that it's a big project, and maybe a smaller project would be more appropriate. So that's my quick summary of it. I will share this with the commission, and I will share it with the applicant as well. So if there's any questions that can be answered from the next meeting, that would be great.
Earlier in the evening, I believe that they said there was 15,000 yards of imported material. Am I correct?
Yeah, a reduction in 15 versus the previous iteration. After we did our test pits, it was found that we could lower the site by about 2 feet to reduce the amount of soil we have to bring on site. And I calc that to be about 15,000 cubic yards less. What do
you know? If you import, where do you get your material? Do you have any idea? Is that left up to the general contractor?
That's going to be up to the GC. Yes, they do provide us with soil gradation, so we can make sure that they're using the correct graded soil before it comes on site for.
Would you when you import large amounts of material, would you have someone inspecting the loads? the general contractor?
Basically, the gradations, which tells you how much fine material and how much coarse material, those are sent to the site engineers, which is Allen and Major Associates, and we would review those to make sure that they fall within guidelines. If they're going to use it, beneath the parking areas or beneath the building, there's different soils that they're going to bring on, and they do provide those gradations to us as shop drawings, which we then either approve or mark to be revised.
I understand that you would have structural fill underneath the buildings, and also if you're going to be filling in and around the subsurface detention basins, it has to be material that will be conducive to absorption of water. So it would have to. It's a very strong concern because you don't want to be taking and putting contaminated material around these subsurface containment areas, and then have it go leach out into the wetland.
Understood.
That's it. That's just my idea. Any other questions out there? Any other questions?
Yes. The map that we're currently looking at is not showing a piece of the property that is listed on the GIS maps as, I believe, 73-15.
Are you talking about this piece here that I'm showing with my cursor? Are you talking about the piece that's close?
Yes, over here where you were showing.
So it is showing, but they're not doing any development there. So it's on the plan. It's just not covered. It's not outlined because they're not doing anything with it.
Okay, but it is still going to remain part of the property. They're not donating.
As far as I know, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Like that for the city to take control of that.
So I think I've talked to, we haven't actually discussed this, but I've talked to the developer about making, putting some kind of restriction on this or something so that it remains open forever or, doesn't get developed. So I think we may do the same back here. I mean, most of it's wet, so you can't do much with it anyway, but we've talked about that just to make sure that there's preservation in the future. And Brian Falk, if you want to, is that accurate still?
Yes, we're happy to discuss that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and one more question that I have. Jolene and I know a number of the other properties are required to have an emergency exit that does not go onto Route 20. Will that be part of a requirement for this development?
Don't know. That's something that's not within our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I believe there are two exits.
There are two.
It's on Route 20, and again, that's something that the fire department and the police department look at. They just want to have a separate entrance, and I don't know if David, you want to just touch on that or not.
The only thing I would say is that we provide the two curb cuts as shown, and it was requested to us to, on the exiting side, to provide 2 lanes, a left turn lane and a right turn lane. We provide that at both of the curb cuts, and that seemed to satisfy the fire department at our first site plan hearing.
Have you discussed this with the schools and where buses would come in?
No, I think that's something that we would discuss with site plan review, under site plan review.
Okay.
That would be a concern. That site plan review would have to deal with that.
Yep.
That's why I didn't mention it earlier, but
just put everything on the table. It's okay.
Well, there are members of the city council listening in this evening, so they have the final approval.
Now,
it's a special.
Then again, I just become aware that there is another development just I guess south of this on Farm Road for another school that was.
It's a residential program for autistic children.
Autistic children, yeah.
It's not a school. It's just a residential. It's where they sleep and then they go to school in Southborough.
Okay, but it was looked to me like to be a couple of acre project.
Yep.
on.
If you want to just wait, if you want to listen, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay, I'm just wondering how it impacts this.
No, it doesn't because it's downstream.
Okay.
From a wetlands perspective, it's different, slightly different water system. All right.
Okay. So we're going to have to continue this to what, June
4th.
June 4th. Okay, so we're going to be continuing this discussion on June 4th for all of those out there that are interested in the project. But if you stay tuned, we have other projects coming up.
All right, 43 Red Spring Road. Scott, were you able to get Derek on the phone?
I believe he's in.
Okay, Derek, are you in?
Okay.
Derek, can you hear us?
Let me see if I, hold on.
Unmute, mute. Is he muted, Scott?
I may have had the wrong number. Hold on a second. Oh, 216. Yeah, he's in.
Okay.
So
Derek,
yeah, he
if
just
you're
has to
in, you
press
need to
star
hit
6.
Yeah,
Is Derek here?
he's coming.
Okay. Derek, are you out there?
Derek, on your phone, you'll need to press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello, Derek. Technology. Wow. All right. So on the screen, I have the plan that your engineer James Morin provided. And if you have the plan in front of you, the commission has reviewed this at the last meeting and had asked for a couple of things. One was the erosion control to be much more defined, and that's here. Some notations on the plan about the erosion controls and about sort of the grading and the look of everything. So I've let's see, I drafted some conditions for this, and I think I sent them to everybody, but they came today, and I think so. Anyway, we can.
Priscilla,
so yes, go ahead, Ed.
I just had one question.
Yeah.
On the last go around, I asked for the dimensions of the house. Derek, do you have the exact dimensions of the house? How many?
Yeah, he wrote it on the drawing. It's 34 by 27.
Is it on the
drawing? It's on. He actually wrote it on there. If you look at the house, you'll see the dimensions and an arrow with the number.
Do I see it?
Let me make it bigger and see if we can decipher it here. Oh, I see it. See it, Ed? There's 34 is this way,
Yeah,
and then 27 is this way.
Okay.
So you see my cursor?
It's micro
That's
script.
27 by
34 by 27.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, it's there.
Okay. Okay, so we have the exact dimensions of the house. Good. Okay, I don't, the only thing is that I noticed that you're going to be putting in forsythia bushes. Why?
That's what was recommended. We'll put in whatever you want, though. I don't really.
Yeah, Jim Morin had suggested I had said that there's a little stream right here, and this bank, because this is sort of an undefined driveway, we wanted to make sure that things don't just get pushed over onto that. So he suggested that in my draft conditions, I said we should also look at, taking out any invasives here and then maybe adding some blueberries or sweet pepper bush. I mean, we could just switch this out to sweet pepper bush, which would be fine too.
I'd rather see something other than forsythia.
Okay.
Forsythia goes wild. It becomes unruly, and it's not like a hedge.
How about sweet pepper bush? That can be.
Sweet pepper bush.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Fine by me.
this is Karen Paquin. Another choice that's probably better than forsythia would be a willow shrub.
Yep.
Not the tree form, but there are several willow shrub that are much more useful.
Okay.
For many reasons and less unruly.
So maybe we can give you some choices that you can choose. Yep.
Yeah, the willow shrub sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody
This
else?
is
Any
Bill.
other questions, members of the board?
Yeah, this is Bill.
Bill, go ahead.
I'm wondering if after the existing house is demolished and the ground is stabilized, can we move the erosion control up closer to the construction of the house?
Sure, yeah.
I think that this is Priscilla. Bill, I think that's a good idea unless, I mean, this needs to be stabilized, right?
That has
So
to
it's
be-
a matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once they stabilize it, they can move the hay bales up to here. They also have to decommission this cesspool. So they have some work to do in this whole area, and they have to put in the well. So I would say there's probably some disturbance that occurs here. So once that's stabilized, sure, that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Derek, what's the timeline on this?
As soon as I get approval from you guys, then I'm just gonna go and do all the paperwork I can get done and get all the estimates together and file for the permit as fast as I
Okay.
can.
Okay. So sometime this summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, members of the public? Any questions, members of the public? Any questions out there from the public? Okay, any other questions, members of the board? Okay, hearing none, declare the public hearing closed. This is a notice of intent, and Priscilla drafted some earlier, but we did not have them in our packet this evening, so we'd have to review them at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay.
So Derek, I think I sent you a copy of those as well. So you don't, I mean, if you have any comments or questions, you can let me know. Otherwise, we'll vote on them at the next meeting.
So we need another vote. We have to go another 2 weeks and then another notice of intent.
No. At the next meeting, we'll issue a permit, and so you'll get it, the next day or 2 days later. And then you're ready to go to the building department.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Moving along, public hearing number 6. This is a notice of intent for Route 20 East. It will not be heard this evening, the continuation, because they are still in the process of drafting their responses to the questions asked by the city engineer and also conservation.
And also DEP. DEP had asked some questions about for asking them to do a little bit more water quality improvements, especially around Hager Pond. And they had some questions about sort of some alternatives. So and they gave us those comments yesterday, and DEP and Mass Highway said they would rather just come to the next meeting when they have those answers. So that one's continued to June 4th.
Okay, so this is continued to June 4th. Moving right along, number 7. This is a notice of intent. This is a continuation of the public hearing. This is for Farm Road, the New England Center for Children. And this is a proposal to construct a residential school building for the New England Center for Children with a footprint of 13,250 square feet. The proposal includes parking, drainage, and utilities. Some of the work is proposed within the buffer zone to a wetland. Now, this is also known as being across from the old airport. Anyone here? Who's here to speak?
Yes. This is Vito Colonna with Cornerstone.
Go ahead.
And I think Bill Pizzoni is on the meeting.
Yeah, I'm here too. Bill Pizzoni's here as well.
Okay.
Hi, Bill.
All right. So since last time, we just got comments the other day from DEP. I think it was 2 days ago. when they issued the file number. So they did have a couple comments with that. They had it's basically 2 comments, and we provided a response to those and updated plans. It was only today, so the changes weren't large, but I'm assuming that most of the commission hasn't had a chance to look at those changes yet.
No, we have not.
Yeah, so I can go over the 2 changes or the 2 comments that they did have. They weren't overly large, but they do, reflect on the plans. So the first one was just basically related to verifying the date of the soil testing, just to confirm when that was done and to confirm groundwater separation to the dry wells. And then there was also a text typo on my end that, I missed it, that I had to change 2 of the numbers on there. So we just verified that the soil testing was performed in December of last year. Groundwater levels were normal at that time. And we didn't see any groundwater nor models all the way to the bottom of testing. And, without the soil models there, that's presumed that groundwater isn't there either, based on, Title V's methodology that we use. And then the second one was related to the rain garden, and that was up near the entrance, and they had recommended that we have additional pretreatment prior to going into that rain garden. And we had the normal 25% removal with a gravel sod filter. And they had said because this ultimately discharges to outstanding resource water, that you need to have the 44% pretreatment. And we just couldn't get that. So instead of, trying to force it in, we just took the rain garden out. It really wasn't a required part of our design to meet all the standards. It was just something that we were kind of providing almost as an extra, just as kind of a low impact technique to give a little extra treatment, a little extra recharge. But I couldn't get it to meet their full standard. So we basically just took that and piped it to the larger infiltration system in front of the building. And I bumped up the size of that infiltration system to handle it. So those are the 2 changes that resulted from or the 2 comments that resulted from DEP.
So
other than
Vito,
that, there weren't any other changes. Yep.
I'm just tracing this coming out with my cursor, and then it comes to here, and this doesn't look like it goes into this system.
Yeah, it goes in, go down, keep going down. And then there's this, yep, right.
Oh, it goes in this way?
Over. That one right there, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
That manhole, that last one, has a low outlet that goes into the system. And then that overflow is set up like 3 feet higher.
I see. Okay.
So
I was tracing it this afternoon and going, so okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So we resized that one so it fully takes the 100-year storm. Before there was a little overflow in the 100, but now with the extra chambers we added, it does take the full 100. So there shouldn't be anything ever coming out of that overflow pipe anyway.
Okay.
Question, Priscilla, did you has the fire department reviewed this plan?
They haven't, and he keeps telling me that he's going to look at this thing, and I haven't got a response from him. But I'll push him for the next meeting. But again, we just have to, engineering and I have to just look at these new calculations just to be sure. But it sounds like they're meeting that, and the fact that they're still trying to. They haven't abandoned their garden. They're just not calling it a garden, and they'll still maintain it as sort of this rain garden is a good low impact development feature.
Well,
so
we actually had to take it out. I'm sorry, we actually did have to take it out.
But you're still getting water into this, aren't you?
These are the other plans. I think I sent you some other plans earlier. Yeah. So we had to take it out because she said that if we leave it there, it would have to be lined and have an under drain under it, and it just started getting too complicated.
I thought I uploaded the plans that you had given me today. I thought I just took it off of your email, so I'm sorry if I didn't put the right ones in.
Unless I grabbed the wrong ones.
These are the wrong ones.
Okay.
Anyway, I will So actually, I'll look at those now more, okay.
It looks exactly the same, except that rain garden's not there.
So
yes, you
you
said
have
we'd
to
have
just,
to line it,
yeah,
and then you wouldn't get any infiltration out of it anyway.
Right.
So by that time, we said I just figured it's easier just to, I don't want to fight with DEP about it,
No,
so I
no,
just
no.
said let's just
Right.
take it out.
So did you put in
Yeah.
so you're going to change the landscape plan to add some landscaping here?
Yeah,
Yes.
they had some. We can now use it. Instead of they had some down the edge, I think. So we could use that area for snow storage now too.
Yeah, for snow storage
think
should be
that's
on pavement, not on landscaped area.
Okay, I guess we could pave it.
No, don't pave
No.
it. So anyway,
I don't want to use up our parking. You don't want
Right.
to use up available parking for your snow storage. Usually, this wouldn't be a bad spot since it's out of the buffer zone. It's away. It's probably one of your furthest points away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to use the rain garden for snow storage?
No.
Not before. We have areas off the edges of both at the ends of the pavement.
Yeah.
We had areas, but then that would be just a nice flat grassed area.
Aesthetically,
then we
a
could
grass
landscape
area
up.
was a lot better.
Yeah, I guess I'm having a hard time. We really do want the snow to be on pavement because it's usually pretty. I mean, all snow when you melt it, it's dirty. So, so some places where you can clean it up somehow. Obviously, we don't want you to pave that, but let's think about that and just make sure that that the landscaping doesn't get destroyed, and we also have the ability to clean up whatever's left.
Yep.
So, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, they do have. I mean, they have a good amount of parking there, so they could
Yep.
keep it on the pavement, I guess.
Yeah, and I think you had it on your last landscape plan. So we might just this might be for XX way excess. If there's a huge storm or something, but so that's good.
Okay.
So I have no comments except for I just need to look at these changes and I can draft some conditions for the next meeting. I did draft some for this meeting, but I didn't get them to anybody. So I'll send those out to everybody, including you, Vito, and
Okay.
and Bill. So you guys can, and then if everything's all set, you don't have to attend the next meeting if we're all clear with everything.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to continue this to the next meeting, Priscilla?
Yep, continue just so that we can finalize,
June
because it's
4th, and you'll-
make sure the changes are okay.
Yeah, any changes incorporated into the final plans, and also you'll draft a notice, an order of conditions.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we're before we close this one, any questions from the general public? Any questions, members of the board?
From the public, I
Yes.
have one question. This appears to be a school, and I understand it's a residential school.
No, it's not a school. It's a residential area for a school in Southborough.
And then the question is, how many residents will be here?
They'll have 27 students.
27.
Okay, because I counted the parking is over 40 spots.
Yeah, they right now there's
You have 27
75
people
spaces.
that have to take care of these kids.
Yeah. So those spaces, they have van spaces that they have to store the vans to transport the kids back and forth to school. And then there's a 1-to-1 staff ratio for the kids.
Does the staff stay with them overnight?
Not the full staff, but there are staff on site at all times. But they don't have full staffing 1-to-1 at night.
They don't have full staffing 20. Do you know the age range of the people who will be living here?
I'm not fully sure. I don't know if Mike is on the call still.
Usually it's up to the age of 22.
Yeah, it's around that age.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's
I don't
good
have the
enough.
exact number.
Yeah, I have a question. You have the residents that are going to be there, and you have all of the parking spaces. I understand that parents come to visit their children. In transporting the children over to Southborough, do their caretaker go with them and leave their vehicle at this site?
I don't think every single one of them goes with them, but if whoever goes with them would leave the vehicle there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand why if you're going to have overnight, you're going to need staffing in the building. You're going to need staffing in the building during the evening while the children, they come back, they have recreational activities, they're being fed, and they're having their needs taken care of, and they have staff that will be caring for them while they're there. Yeah, but the educational portion of it will occur in Southborough.
Yeah, everything occurs in Southborough.
Yep. Okay, so, and any other questions out there? Any other questions?
Eddie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Alan.
Is this that building that we had concerns about with the fire road going around it? Is there adequate enough?
Yeah, the chief has not had a chance to comment on it, Alan. It was a concern that I had.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was a concern with
an
address to the next meeting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to continue this until June 4th, when we will hear any other testimony, and if they don't necessarily have to be here, but we can vote on it and issue the
Well, then we
order of
can
conditions.
we can close it at that point and then issue.
We'll close it at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Number 8. This is a notice of intent. This is a continuation of public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is for Roosevelt Street. This is a proposal to construct a single-family home on a vacant lot, portions of which are proposed within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and/or inland bank associated with an intermittent stream at the end of Roosevelt Street. Who's here tonight?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Jacob Lemieux with Hancock Associates, here representing Carlos Marcolino. This is, as you know, a continuation of a public hearing for a lot within the 100-foot buffer zone. Some of the concerns that came up during the last public hearing were we had pretty much worked all of the on-site layout and erosion control out. So the concern was mainly with the sewer force main in the street and having the emergency storage on site, and whether or not we'd be able to fit an emergency storage tank for the pump stations. So we've reached out to FR Mahoney, E1, who worked for E1 as a system designer for options on emergency storage, and they sent us a diagram showing how the system is laid out with emergency storage, and we've added additional 1,500 gallon tank. I believe the Conservation Commission was looking for 1,000 gallons, but the Tom DePercio had requested 110 gallons per day per bedroom for 3 days for emergency storage over a holiday weekend. So we've provided an emergency storage tank on this lot and also on the force main layout plan for the entire street for all future connections to the system as well. I don't think that there were any other major concerns. I think that this is basically the only thing that we hadn't sussed out yet on the plan. So I'd be happy to discuss further with anybody that has any questions.
One of the concerns that we had was because this is a new type system, your storage tank is going to be somewhere out on the front lawn of this place.
Yes, it's if you could go to the NOI plan.
Yeah, just hold on a second. For some reason I can, oh, here it is. I see.
Thank you.
This one?
Yes. So you can see right where the front door to the building is, and that front bump out. the tank is about 11 feet off the face of the building there.
Yeah.
Oops, I jumped it.
It's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone.
That is.
Right
See,
here.
but the thing is that for this system to work, you know, for what you want to do, and for the house to be built, they have to have some form of septic. And if you did not have this and you had to put in a septic system, you couldn't build a house at this point.
Correct.
So, am I correct in saying that they need 110 gallon reserve capacity for per bedroom for each of the house, each of the rooms in the house?
Yeah, so 110 gallons per day per bedroom for 3 days. So this is 4 bedrooms, so that'd be 440 per day. So it comes out to like 1350 that's required for this building, but the tanks come in standard sizes, so 1500 is the next appropriate size.
Yeah. Now the grinder and the pump, where are they located?
So if you see, if you can go back to the NOI plan, please. So if you see the tank there, the line that's the gravity force, I mean the gravity sewer line that's coming off the building there. So there's a circle with an S, or like a sewer manhole, and that's where the grinder pump system itself is.
Okay. Now that grinder pump system is only for that one house.
Yes.
And each house up the street, if they wanted to tie into the system, they would have to do the same.
Correct.
Okay. Now, Priscilla, did Tom DePercio fully review this?
He did, and Jason, you can explain that. I think I have the letter that came back from Tom. So Tom had asked for a clean out, and they've provided it. So Jason, has Tom responded to this email, this memo yet?
No, he hasn't responded to it yet. We do believe that we've addressed all of his comments.
Yeah.
I mean, there were pretty straightforward things on there. Adding a clean out, a different detail for a silt sack that he wanted to see with an overflow weir.
Okay. So I think I think we're set. I feel comfortable if you guys wanted to vote on this, and then I can just, if there's, I can double check, but before I send it, but I think we're all set with this.
Yeah. Do we have the order of conditions?
I did draft you some, but I think I sent them today, I think.
Yeah.
So we can close the hearing and then just issue them at the next meeting. I mean, if everything's the same.
Yeah.
So if that works.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions, members of the commission? Any questions, members of the commission?
This is
Alan, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me yet?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My concern is, like you said, we can't have anybody issuing a permit to build any structures in that area until that surge is in place. Am I correct?
Well, I think it has to be, an occupancy permit could not be issued for the house if they did not have a septic system.
Well, it's my understanding.
Sanitary sewer.
It's under my understanding, in the past, no one could tie in, no one could put a building in a residential area, especially with that wetland, unless sewage was available. This particular area is in a wildlife corridor, and it is a very precious piece of property that's left in the city, and it should take special consideration before anybody does any digging activity in that entire area. That lot that they have proposed to do this with, I have no problems with the system that they are presenting, but it is to tie in when it's available.
They're creating the system, Alan. What
Okay.
they're doing is that they're putting in, it's like the Presby systems that they put in over by, remember they did them over by the old, on Ash Street?
The
Or
landfill.
On Hudson Street. On Hudson Street. They put in Presby systems and they pumped up to the sewer trunk line.
I'm very, very up to date in
Yeah.
how these systems are put in. I put them
Yep.
in years before. My concern is disturbing that area at all. And that one lot, I don't see any problem with. But to go and anticipate more building down in that area, I would have grave concerns for. And I want that to be considered.
Yeah, if Roosevelt's, I imagine that if Roosevelt Street was going to be, considered to be extended, of course, they have to come before us. And they have to go into, there's a lot of other things that they have to do before they even come to us.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen, thank you. Anyone else? Any other commission members? Any of the general public have any questions? Any questions from the public? Any questions for the public? Okay, hearing none, I declare the public hearing closed. So that should be it for the public hearings for this evening.
And
Okay.
I'll draft some conditions for the next meeting, and I'll
Yeah.
share them again with Hancock and also with the commission, and we can then figure out whether we're all on the same page.
Thanks,
Okay.
Priscilla.
Okay, thank you.
Can you put these documents in the public file?
I think this, let's see, this new plan, I can't remember. I think they came to us. So there was a similar version on the last meeting set of plans, and these ones are new. If you're interested in them, I'm happy to send them to you. There's no issue with that.
Thank you.
Okay. You can send me an email to remind me. Would be happy to send them to you.
Okay, Steve. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion. The first we have the Department of Conservation and Recreation, the 2020 Forest Management Proposal. What do we have, Priscilla?
Let's see, what did I send you? I don't even remember what I sent you. Did I send you just a letter, or did I have a map in it too?
Let's see, I believe there was a map. Yeah, let me pull that one up. Yeah, they have,
I think I can share that. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can share it. Let's see. This is the next item to discuss. Let's see. Sorry, technical difficulties here.
Yeah, I know that it's broken down into different areas. You have the Goodale lot.
Yeah.
Then you have then you have another one, the Chipman lot. Some of this has already gone through forest management before. I noticed that way down on the end of White Pond Road, right down on Route 62, which is the main street in Hudson. They had done a lot of logging out of there within the last couple of years.
Correct. Yep. And this is just sort of a continuation of their plan. And so they're required to send it to us to make sure. I did walk the lot. I don't know if the Sudbury Reservoir piece is on that lot and that notice to, but they're just getting all of their ducks in a row. Sometimes they sell, you know, because they hire somebody to clear it, and once and then sometimes it just depends on the wood market. I guess it's not in this pile. Sorry.
Okay. You know, so I know that other members of the commission are more familiar with this this area. Karen, do you have any wisdom on this?
I don't know if I have any wisdom, but in response to Priscilla's question about the Sudbury properties, no, it's just the one that parcel that's within our desert natural area. I think that might be the Chipman parcel, and then the state forest off of White Pond Road. And that was I think it was a red pine plantation, and they're really trying to not only manage sort of the structure of the forest, but they're also trying to take out some of these red pine that are now diseased and of a certain age, and they want to get rid of that. My question was, do we have any idea of what time of year, if it's even going to be this year? I couldn't seem to find that in the write-up.
There's nothing in the write-up.
Sometimes they don't. They just put the plan out, and they don't necessarily know. It really depends on the what the market is for
the wood
wood.
market. Yeah,
and what kind of bids they get, and so we usually don't know that. Karen, I think the Chipman lot is the one that we walked with Mike, whatever his last name is, Waterman.
Yep.
And they are also looking at that area because it has pitch pine scrub oak sort of tendencies. It has some semblance of that, and the soils are correct. So that may be, you know, phase 3, 4, 5 of the pitch pine scrub oak treatment. But DCR is actually looking. They've been talking to us sort of in that vein as well. So so I think when we walked it with him before, that was his interest, and I think that this plan may be advancing that. But you know what? I can call Mike and ask him just to get clarification on those timelines, just so everybody knows that. So I can get back to you on that.
Oh, great.
I know that they were doing an awful lot of logging in the winter when the ground was frozen.
That's usually that's usually when they do it.
Yeah.
The preferred time. Go ahead. Sorry, Ed. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. No. It's just that, you know, I think it's also when the wood market is available too. I don't think there's much value in the red pines. You know, I don't think that they use the red pine for much other than mulch or feed
chips, right?
With chips for the generation plants, because a lot of it's decayed, a lot of it's diseased.
And I also noted that they have, and I walk by these almost 2-3 times a week. They have 2 potential non-certified vernal pools along that area as well, which I've definitely seen egg masses and the whole spiel in. So it'd probably be good to get certified.
It would be good to get certified, and it's also good to make sure that we write a comment, a note about that, so that they can avoid those areas. So Karen, if you can mark those up on a plan, then I can. And when I talk to Mike, I mean, he may already know about them, but if not, we should actually document it anyway.
Yep.
So
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any
Yes,
other discussion?
Go
ahead.
Not on that one. The next one.
Next one is the Commonwealth Heights. This is a revised subdivision plan. This is, they want comments by June 8th.
Correct. So here's the subdivision plan. I think we sent it to you. You will all recall this came before the planning board a couple years ago, maybe 5, 6, I don't know how many. This is the old apple orchard. This is Farm Road. No, let's see. 4th Street is to the bottom. Ames Street is to the
Priscilla, we don't have anything in front of us.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I just have to
we have to see.
show you what I'm showing me, what I'm directing. Okay, here we are. All right. So this is the subdivision. Ames Street is here. This is the intersection of Ames and Forest down at the bottom. They are proposing 19 lots or 20 lots, I guess 21 lots, 22. So they have 3 lots that are on Ames and Forest, and then they have the rest internal. If you will recall, I can't remember. I know we gave them enforcement orders because when they were building these detention basins that are in now, we had some major problems with mud coming off the site. We also had issues with the soil management. This property was an apple orchard, and because it's a residential property, they will have to strip that off and deal with it. We do have there is a soil management plan that Krista Holme gave me last week that I'm trying to get through to see if that plan actually meets the requirements of DC, and let's see, it's the requirements of DP, hazardous waste management. Because it's an orchard, it has some different criteria that it has to meet, but in the end, it still needs to be clean. So the soil needs to be clean. And I have to look at that plan to see whether they're taking it all off as they had expressed in the first round of this thing, or whether they're trying to bury it somewhere, in which case we'll have to make sure that that is properly documented so that nobody digs it up incorrectly. So again, our job is to comment to the planning board. I will draft some some comments. We can look at them on the June 4th meeting and then issue them to or submit them to the planning board. And I'll get them to you early as well.
Yeah. Hey, Priscilla, in looking at this plan, way down the end, are they going to put is the detention basin already in there? Right behind the houses? Not basins, that one there.
This one is it is in. If you I think they sort of stopped halfway. I don't know if it's completely in or if it's all in, but they did have to build that because don't you remember we had that horrible problem with all this mud coming into the houses behind Sandini?
Yep.
It was so the good thing is that, you know, to start this project, at least they have these things in place already. But the soil not only is contaminated, just that first 12 inches because of the lead and arsenic, but then underneath it is that nasty, very, very silty soil. And it just ran. It just ran when it got wet. It's just the same as the 99 restaurant. It was so very, very fine, tight clay soil that's really difficult to build. So our comments, I think the comments that we submitted the first time they came in was they needed to do a soil management plan, and they needed to make sure that they had a good construction sequencing plan, which I can add to the letter that we sent to them.
Okay. You know, the concern is the soils. You know, if they're going to if they're going to remove them from site, where are they going to move them to? You know, and Gutierrez is the owner of the property, I believe. I don't know who.
That is correct. That is correct.
I don't know if he has sold it off or whether he has a developer that's going to come in or he's going to sell it. But we have to be very careful as to where the soil goes.
Yep. And I think that's correct. And we just have to make sure that we're so I will draft some comments and I will get them to you guys in the next packet. And if you have any comments before the meeting on the 4th, just let me know and I can revise whatever we have.
Yeah, okay. Okay, moving on. Correspondence, we had the CSX, which we've already had this evening. The 2020 City of Marlborough Yearly Vegetation Management Operational Plan. That's a plan that they have to submit on a yearly basis. Chris White is usually the one that submits that.
Well, this one is CSX, so CSX has to submit it, and because it's utility, so railroads, roadways, and so this is the second one. Yes.
The second one, the City of Marlborough.
I didn't hear you say the first one, so sorry.
City of Marlborough, that's their yearly vegetation management operational plan. You know, I know they do some spraying here, there, and everywhere around the city.
Yep.
Then we have a letter from National Grid to the City Council in their vegetation management plan and approval. I believe the City Council uses it, you know, just accepts the communication and places on file. And also the email to Mark Wambold about Route 20. Have you heard anything recently?
I have not. I need to issue him the enforcement order that says stopping work, but he knows he needs to stop. So he was gonna try to stabilize it, but I'm asking. We're gonna ask him to come into the next meeting.
Is he going to remove the material that he has put in the wetland area?
It's not in the wetland, it's in the buffer zone, but I gave him the option. He needs to either move it or come in and get a notice of intent to allow it. So, but noting that the likelihood is he'll need to get rid of most of that. So,
yeah.
So that's he should be filing for the next meeting.
And let's see, anything else? Our next meeting is on June 4th, and then the one after that is June 18th. Anything else?
Yeah, Ed, this is David.
Go ahead, Dave.
Simpson Road.
Right.
Our friend has leveled all his piles.
He has loam in the backyard now.
I know, and we had told him to stop, so I need to go deliver him an enforcement order tomorrow with a violation notice saying that maybe daily fines if we don't hear from him, or what?
Daily
How would
fines,
you like?
because, you know, we've asked him to come into several meetings and he's never attended.
Right.
For some reason. I think he feels as though he can just keep on going. Because I went by there yesterday and I noticed that he had loam all spread along the back, in the backyard. And his next door neighbor now has started to fill.
I saw that too. So I think we just need to, I think we need to tell him, because we told him to stop and to come back with a plan that showed him, because he has a 1-to-1 slopes. He doesn't have 3-to-1 slopes that he needs to have. So he's going to have to remove some of that fill. So it's going to be, I mean, we had told him to stop and file a notice of intent. That's what we had said. So I will follow up and say that we'll have daily fines until he talks to us.
Yeah, plus also he's storing construction equipment in his backyard.
Yeah,
well, he's trying a business out of there. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what, I know he has another job for the city.
So the storing equipment is a building issue, not or zoning issue, not a conservation issue.
It's a zoning issue, yeah.
Right. So I will go, if anybody wants to go visit him with me tomorrow, I'll be happy to have assistance.
Yeah.
All right.
Anybody else? Anything else? Anything else out there? Okay. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Alan White? I'll read the roll. Alan White. Motion to adjourn. I guess. David Williams.
Yes.
John Scarron.
Yes.
Karen Paquin.
Yes.
Bill Dunbar.
Yes.
Alan White.
Yes.
Ed Clancy, yes. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. We will stop recording now. Thank you.